Great.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Adornment and a gorgeous conversation with my soul friend MiLy from San Francisco. And we've got a gorgeous transatlantic friendship, which I think was fostered and fired up by our joint passion for all things creative, adornment, fashion, um, soulfulness, colour, and how we both show up into the world. So, welcome, MiLy. It's beautiful that you could join us as a guest tutor on Adornment. There's our friendship so vast, and there's so much to talk about that I don't know where to start. So, tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you want to kind of introduce yourself?
Sure. Sure, I'd be happy to. So my name is MiLy Trabine. I live in San Francisco, California, and I was just visiting in Liverpool with Claire recently. My wife and I were over in England, and it was just such a pleasure to see you yet again. And so let me tell you about myself. I am an artist. I was doing a lot of paint. I've always done, well, my grandmother taught me how to sew actually, but it was just basic, just little things like how to make a little outfit for my doll or something like that. Very simple. But I felt that just even that gave me confidence of like, oh, I could figure out this sewing machine. And then I probably around 20 years ago or so, I've always been, I am a quadruple Leo, okay, if that means something in California, but I am a bit flamboyant. Like I mentioned before, I am gay, I am queer, so I have that in my blood too, of being like a little extra maybe. And I love to get dressed up. But I found that some of the clothes I admired didn't fit me, or maybe I couldn't afford them. And that kind of got me going into thinking like, well, maybe I could make something that I like. So that's got that going. I was also very interested in painting. I did that for a while. And now, in addition to clothes, I've sort of moved from painting on to doing these textile wall hangings. So they're like paintings, but they're all made with fabric. So those are sort of the artistic things I have going on in my life. And I do have a bunch of different clothes that I've made. I mainly sew for myself because I have more confidence and feeling like I know my size and, trying to fit other people's a little tricky. I've thought about just making things and putting them out on a rack and let other people decide if it fits them, rather than trying to be like, oh, this is not to mention international sizing. So,
Oh,
I'm open to different things and I am willing to try to make things for people. But the other thought I've had too is that if someone has something they want me to make, then they provide for example, the denim jacket and then go from there. But sizing is sort of a whole issue with sewing. And, one thing I'd like to make sure that I point out today is that you do not need to be some kind of like, type A extreme perfectionist sewist. You do not. You can have great success with sewing. I drive mine like it's a little Mack truck. I'm like, "Rrr, rrr." I am not, I've never done a perfect buttonhole. I've never done a perfect hem. I've never done anything perfect in my life. Let's face it, except for being imperfect. That's what I do perfectly. And because I think so many people are intimidated by sewing, but in my opinion, you really don't need to be. I mean, if that's your jam to be perfect, I mean, that's good for you, but that's not that's not my thing.
yeah, I mean, we've got very similar like that. I
Yeah.
prefer to produce a painting
Yeah.
or a piece of something
Yes.
imperfectly than not create.
Yes.
And that's so we've
Absolutely.
got similar ethos to that. So,
Yes.
so going back a step to what you spoke about with your grandma, do you feel like there's a thread of strong women, it sounds like, who created in the family, and that's kind of
Yes.
passed through to you.
Yes, absolutely. And they did really amazing things and got little or no attention for any of it. I mean, it's just incredible. I still have the little Easter dress that she made me when I was probably 5 years old. I've kept it my entire life from when I moved from house to house to house over my many years. I'm 62 years old now. I still have it with me. I treasure it. I treasure it. And I treasure the memories of when she'd bring me to the fabric store in our town. And I mean, it was just a blessing. And my mother also, she knit things and knit sweaters. She even made I mean, women back in the day made amazing things, you know. And it's kind of funny. It's sort of like how it is with cooking. Women have been cooking forever, women have been sewing forever. And then sometimes, you know, other people get involved and all of a sudden it's like, woo, all of a sudden it's, this or that.
Mm.
But anyway, I won't go there too far. But
So,
I
what
think
was
yeah.
your grandmother's name?
Oh, you're gonna love this. Her name was Grace. Is that just the best name ever? Grace,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah. No, and I have right here, I have her sewing machine right behind me. It's like
Ah,
one of the old things. In fact, this is amazing. I wish I could. I'm having trouble with my video, but the room I'm in is basically like her apartment. I'm in San Francisco. In reality, it's my garage. But when she passed over the years, received her sewing machine. I received her hope chest, which is the kind of thing that's what you'd put your things in there as a girl to bring forward to your adulthood. I have a little desk, and all these things were probably the least expensive things in the store. They were a lot of them aren't even really necessarily made of real wood, or you know what I mean. They're very
and
inexpensive,
I
yeah,
don't know
but
whether
treasures.
we have like you might have. I don't think it's as popular now, but we used to have like a bottom drawer where
uh
people would put things for like their wedding or whatever.
right.
So this hope chest
Yeah, same
is
thing, it
is
must be.
beautiful, really beautiful,
Yeah.
and so Grace. And then what was your mum's name?
My mother's name also is wonderful, and it was Lois. And you don't hear that as much, but it's just like real classic. She was born in
Mm,
1927. Yeah,
mm,
no. And I actually did a matrilineal line going back 10 or 11 generations because, sometimes you don't always know who the dad is, frankly. I mean, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
yeah.
But everyone knew who their mother was. And plus that's really was something I had great interest in. And it was so beautiful to learn all their names. Just even if I couldn't find out too much about them, I knew their names. I went to each of their grave sites across America. And, it's just beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. I
So
love that.
Grace and
Yeah.
Lois,
Yes.
and then this thread. So would you say
Yes.
that creating and stitching, and that is in the blood,
Yeah.
in your blood?
I would say so. Yes, definitely. Definitely. And I just
Mm.
love that it's considered kind of women's work. That's something that I really like a lot,
Mm.
whatever that
So,
means,
yeah,
but it's something that was sort of,
yeah.
it's something
And
that's often considered very simple and basic and yet is not at all. And it's just there's something about that I just really speaks to me. Yeah. Yeah.
so one of the questions that we're looking at on Adornment is
Mm,
how we can kind of track our own autobiographies, our own narrative
nice. Nice.
through the clothes that we've worn and the things that
Yes.
we carried. So it's a really
Yes.
hard question for someone like me or you
Mm,
because of the richness of
mm,
how passionate we are about clothes. Is there one outfit, and I'm sure there's a whole
uh-huh.
wardrobe that you bring in,
Uh,
that has got a beautiful story to go with it that you could tell us from your own
oh boy.
kind of that'd be hard
Yeah,
from
no,
your
that's
own.
sure. I mean, well, just even right now, what am I wearing right now? This is a denim jacket, and this is for what's happening. I mean, it's always good for women, but it's something in the United States that's very important. It says rise up, and it's a
Wow,
phoenix, right?
beautiful.
And I made this. It's just a jean jacket. It's nothing. And I do collage quilting art. Let me just back up a little bit.
It's
And it says
beautiful.
rise up, and those are the flames down below. And then I see I have like a woman's image there. And there's like right below her is like sort of a goddess image. It's kind of hard to see. And then these
Mm.
flames, right? So that's something, for example, that I wear that it just like, and sometimes people respond. Sometimes people are like, yes, sister, rise up, and
So some people can think, oh, a course about adornment or being
mhm,
interested in clothes is
mhm,
frivolous or surface
mm,
level, but
mhm,
actually we can also, as well as tracking our own kinds of narratives around
yep,
clothes, they can also give a political message. They can tell
yes,
a story. We can tell some of our own stories or beliefs or leanings through what we wear.
mhm.
So they're message carriers as well, like that.
Right. This one, I think I may have worn this when I was in Liverpool, and it says resist on the back. And it's kind of subtle
Mm.
because those two giant flowers are really what catches people's eye. And then after they're looking at it a while, they're like, oh, that says resist, you know? And on the front, it's not lined up perfectly, but this is me kind of screaming. Uh, and that's a mouth. And it's fun because I can wear it, like when it's unbuttoned, and then when you see it together, and then the eyes are on the pocket,
That is
and it's
so
just,
amazing.
and I just, it's not lined up perfectly right now on the hanger, but you get the idea of it. So that's one. But also, I know you said pick one thing, but that's impossible. But okay, this is something I made. This is a vest. And this is idea. I saw someone else, another artist who was creating maps. Sorry about the video.
Great, we can see it still.
Yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
but these are maps of homes I've lived in. I'm going to back away. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. This is becoming psychedelic in some crazy way. But
It's
anyway,
like
these are three homes I've lived in, and I kind of mapped it out from my childhood to young adulthood to where I live now. And so it was just, it's just something that means something to me, you know.
so
Yeah,
when you are producing and
yeah.
creating,
Hmm.
what would you say is the feelings with the process? So is it cathartic? Is it healing?
So relaxing, so
Oh,
relaxing,
yeah.
and I just like sometimes, I mean, I'll listen to music, sometimes I'll listen to a podcast or just something, but really sometimes I don't even hear, I mean, I just feel so it's very relaxing to me and very and then and it just and also obviously I'm not following a pattern. I'm not someone who could like I mean I could I suppose, but I whatever. My thing is just to be free, and so it's like, oh, I'm going to put this over here. I'm going to put an anchor in the sky. I'm going to put a boat up above the, moon. I'm going to do whatever. It's fine. It's that freedom, just
There's an
that
inc-
freedom.
yeah, there's an incredible amount of freedom in how they look. I mean, they
Yeah.
look organic,
Yeah.
free, and the
Yeah.
process is like that. And have you ever made something and then looked at it and realized things from it, or is it kind of
Oh,
more like
that's interesting for
yes,
sure. And definitely with paintings. But yeah, for absolutely. And certainly during the process. I mean, I'm looking at this now and and so often I think it just touches me. Like, for example, even on this one, I have like little gardens on the map or different ocean things. It just gets me to reflect on when I'm choosing. I have quite a bit of fabric. And what I usually do is I just buy a yard at a time. When I'm making clothes, of course, it's much more, but just to have this. And so it's almost like choosing paints. I'll be like, oh, here's an image of a boat, or here's an image of a this, and then of course I use a lot of batiks also to be just for that feeling, the mood, whatever that is. And it's very joyous. And also when I find myself getting uptight, to be like, oh, then this is the time maybe to let go or move on just maybe take a little break because that's not what this is about. It's not about being stressed. It's not about being right. It's not about being perfect. It's just so then I'll take a break or I'll realize like, oh no, just to let go of that inner voice. Then after I make it, then I quilt it after it's all
yeah.
on, then I steam it and then I quilt it. But yeah, no, there's so many different types of things. um,
So it
yeah.
feels like a real process, and
Hmm.
the way you create. I mean, there's a
Hmm.
beautiful Cherry Hubber quote that says, the way
Mm.
you do anything is the way you do everything.
Oh,
And
nice.
I
Yeah.
really see that the way you live your life, the way you show up
Mm,
is totally congruent with how you dress and how you create.
mm,
And that's
mm.
beautiful. One of the I always think that you are iconic, an iconic person.
Mm,
Which I don't say lightly, but I have
mm.
got a few icons in my life. Um, who would you say, thinking about
Mm.
either contemporary or people from history, feel iconic fashionistas to you or
Oh,
inspire
that's
you?
so interesting. Well, let's see. This is one of my vests. Oh, who's that? Annie Lennox. I actually have a whole bunch of different vests. Another one is Grace Jones. I've loved Grace Jones. I came of age in the 1980s. I was born in 62. So I was 20 years old in 1982. And I was like, whoa, David Bowie, Grace Jones, Annie Lennox. I mean, speaking of celebrities, of course. And
So So,
yeah.
what was it about all those people? What makes
Mm.
someone iconic? What
Uh.
was it about those people that had that quality about them?
Mm.
What is
Mm.
it that makes
Well,
someone?
certainly I mean, I think on some level they're flamboyance. All three of them have that sort of like, I don't know, they're free and they're being open-minded. And although they're not, I really identify with queer people a lot because I always feel like that's me, or yay. But they all have that in their souls. It feels like,
Hmm.
that type of energy. And they were also very a part of the gay community when I was young, even though they had their own lives, they embraced it
Yeah.
very deeply, all three of them. So I think that made a difference to me. I was thinking recently about how when I was a kid, I mean, I remember like it's so laughable now, but like when I heard like maybe Elton John was gay, it was like boom, it was like what are you kidding? Now it's like hilarious to think that he ever was maybe